So, welcome back to Only Shannon Knows. It has been about a week since Amazon laid off 16,000 corporate employees. And we're going to delve into where is Amazon going next? What layoffs are they targeting next? In what areas? The layoffs are not done. So, for those of you that think the layoffs are done, they are not done. I'm going to go into why I believe they're not done, the data that shows us the next area that they're targeting, and then where is Amazon going for 2026 with regards to its business model and layoffs as well. Finally, what to do if you work for Amazon. Is it best to stay working at Amazon, or is it better to go into a different job sector, as all these job sectors are doing layoffs? I will give you my recommendation with regards to this. Let's go ahead and let's delve into what Beth Galletti, she's a senior vice president for Amazon, what she wrote with regards to the layoffs. And I'm going to go into detail about it. And what she says is very specific. It's on Amazon's website. Amazon's not done with their layoffs. We are going to talk briefly about Project Dawn as well. And if you have any questions about Project Dawn specifically, I did another YouTube video. I will go ahead and link it above with regards to Project Dawn and how employees found out they were getting laid off prior to getting laid off. So here is Beth's letter, and this is directly to her employees. I wanted to let you know that we're making additional organizational changes across Amazon that will impact some of our teams. I recognize this is difficult news, which is why I'm sharing what's happening and why. And this was dated January 28th. As I shared in October, we've been working to strengthen our organization by reducing layers, increasing ownership, and removing bureaucracy. While many teams finalized their organizational changes in October, other teams did not complete that work until now. That's important. The reductions we are making today will impact approximately 16,000 roles across Amazon, and we're again working hard to support everyone whose role is impacted. This starts with offering most US-based employees 90 days to look for a new role internally. Then for teammates who are unable to find a new role at Amazon or who choose to not look for one, we'll provide transition support, severance pay, etc. So this is the interesting part right here. While we were making these changes, we'll also continue hiring and investing in strategic areas and functions that are critical to our future. We're still in the early stages of building every one of our businesses, and there's a significant opportunity ahead. Some of you might ask if this is the beginning of a new rhythm, meaning the layoffs, where we announce broad reductions every few months. That is not our plan. But just as we always have, every team will continue to evaluate ownership, speed, and capacity to invest for customers and make adjustments as appropriate. That's never been more important than it is today in a world that's changing faster than ever. So what this is telling me is that, number one, the question, is this a new rhythm where every maybe quarter or every 3 months are they going to look at doing layoffs? They've been doing silent layoffs, as we know, ever since 2023. They did broader layoffs, which were announced. They were really large layoffs, 27,000 people, but then continuing 2023, 2024, 2025, there were silent layoffs here and there. And then now we have this larger, broader layoff, which is 30,000 people total. Now, what this is telling me specifically is that isn't their plan. Now, she's not saying no, just like Andy Jassy, when he was talking about return to office, he never said no. Virtual employees are not going to have to return to an office. He never said that in his letter. He never said RTO 3 was final RTO 3, return to office 3 days. It turned in return to office 5 days. So that's not their plan. But just as we always have, every team will continue to evaluate the ownership, speed, and capacity to invent for our customers. So they're going to continue to look at the return on their investment for the employees. The employees that they're investing in, what What are they doing to impact the company to deliver for the business? What are they doing to deliver for their customers? And what is that value proposition? What is that additional return on their investment? They're investing in employees. What is going to be that return on that investment? So they're going to continue this rigorous look at employees and what they bring to the company. And then that additionally is going to provide them with information. Do we want to keep these employees or do we need to do another round of layoff? We're going to talk about is something that's very interesting because as we know, Amazon, and Beth had mentioned in her letter that they already let go 16,000 people. So with Project Dawn, and again, if anybody's interested, I did a prior video about that. I'm not going to go into the full aspect of it. Very high level. There was an email sent out, an internal email sent out that was supposed to be sent after these layoffs were done, and it wasn't. It was sent before the layoffs were done, and it notified people basically that the layoffs were happening the day that it happened, and it gave people a heads up. What this Project Dawn, with this email and invite had stated is that the notifications, and this is quote directly from this notification, the notification to impacted colleagues in our organization who are based in the US, Canada, and Costa Rica have now been completed. So this went out prior to any of the layoffs happening, but it specifically states US, Canada, and Costa Rica. Now, in other countries, for example, the United Kingdom, they have a different process for layoffs. So now let's go over to Luxembourg specifically. And this is the Luxembourg Times. And this was dated January 28th. So Amazon, and this is talking specifically to the workers over in Luxembourg, Amazon in Luxembourg will not cut any further jobs beyond the 370 already announced in December. Now, stay with me because this is important. As the online retailer giant revealed on Wednesday, it plans to eliminate about 16,000 corporate positions worldwide to streamline operations and integrate AI. This global announcement does not have any additional impact for Amazon in Luxembourg beyond the organizational changes already communicated in December. So Amazon has to work directly. They have a works council. Amazon has to work directly with that council in order to have agreed upon layoffs, a layoff total. So stay with me here, though. This is really important. Luxembourg remains central to our European, this is from Amazon, to our European business. We continue to invest in our teams, enhancing local services, deepening community connections, and our focus stays firmly on delivering exceptional experiences for our customers. So this is where we get into it. 370 jobs slashed in Luxembourg. Amazon's December restructuring in Luxembourg followed 2 weeks of negotiations with staff delegates after trade unions initially expected 470 layoffs. So this is where Amazon can come into the US and they can go ahead and they can do the layoffs, and they don't have to do anything else other than provide the WARN notice, which is a 60-day notice. However, in Luxembourg, they cannot do that. They have to actually have negotiations. This is where the 370, it was 470, now it's been reduced to 370. So the final number was 370, where severance packages described as generous and emails notifying affected employees are scheduled to start going out the 1st of February. So Amazon is not done with its layoffs, period. This is stating that starting February 1st, that is when the layoffs for Luxembourg are going to happen. So there's an additional 370 employees that Amazon is going to continue to lay off. Now, news outlets have included Luxembourg in this total, this 16,000 total. And the interesting part, though, is they also talk about Luxembourg having this 90-day severance package, which is not true. They have completely different employee laws. So be careful what you read out there, because I'm very familiar with employee labor laws and what it is for different states and in different countries as well. And so this is where the varying differences are. So there are going to be additional layoffs in Luxembourg. Now, let's go back. Let's take a step back. We know Luxembourg, that's coming this week. More to come on that. I will do additional posts about that. They are getting a very generous package, and that's just due to the actual labor laws that are in Luxembourg. But let's talk about the severance packages specifically for the US employees. And this is on Reddit, and this is a letter. It's a little hard to read, and it's a snapshot. So somebody shared this letter. Obviously at the bottom it says Amazon Confidential. But this is what people are getting in the US, the laid off people. So it's talking about, now coming from the October, they did the 14,000 layoffs in October. So from October 28th until January 26th, those employees were not expected to perform anything at Amazon. They were still getting their pay. They were still getting their benefits. They were getting everything. They just were not expected to perform their work. They also had access to their internal communications. I believe it was Chime. I believe it was email. And I can't remember. There was one other one that they did have access to. So here's the very important information here. If you accept another role within Amazon before 126, you are not eligible for severance. If you have not found another job within Amazon prior to 126, your employment will end on 126 and you will be eligible to receive a full severance package unless you are dismissed for cause during the notification period. Now, I am very curious. What does that mean, unless you are dismissed for cause during the notification period? Is that a little loophole that Amazon has where they can go ahead and lay you off? I'm sure more is into it. The person who posted this did not post any information on that, but if anybody has anything, please let me know. While we hope you stay with Amazon, I don't necessarily know if that's true or not, but anyway, while we hope you stay with Amazon, we understand you may decide not to pursue any other internal opportunities. If you choose to pursue opportunities outside of Amazon, but stay through 126, you will be eligible to receive a severance package. So bottom line, in all reality, you want to stay employed, quote unquote, with Amazon through 126. You get the severance package, and then you can go ahead and start your new position. I already know that the job market is really difficult to find anything anyway. For me, I was looking at a role in another large tech company where I knew a director there. It was a role directly under her. She was hiring in for it. It took me 6 months to go through that entire interview process, and she was the hiring manager. So it takes a while. I know somebody at Apple, it took him, and he knew somebody internally as well. It took him 6 months until he actually got an acceptance letter from Apple. It takes a while. So you're more than likely, you're going to be getting this severance package. But let's talk about what that severance package is. If you choose to leave Amazon prior to 126, your employment will end based on the resignation notification, and you will be eligible to receive a severance package, which that doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know if that's a typo. If you choose to leave Amazon prior to 126, your employment will end based on the resignation notification, and you will be eligible to receive a severance package. So no matter what, I feel like that might be a typo on there. Anyway, I could be reading that wrong. Maybe that is true. I don't know. If those of you who have been laid off from Amazon, let me know. Severance package. So here we go. Here's the nitty gritty here. If you're eligible to receive a severance package within 10 days after your end of employment date or before, you'll receive your severance and release agreement via email to review and consider. Your severance and release agreement will provide details related to your severance benefits as follows: a lump sum severance payment less legally required payroll deductions equivalent to 1 week of base salary for every 6 months of service, rounded to the nearest 6 months, with a minimum benefit of 4 weeks paid severance, regardless of tenure, up to a maximum benefit of 20 weeks paid severance, plus an additional taxable lump sum payment equivalent to the total premium cost for 6 months. So that's a pretty decent severance package. If you've been there, let's just say 10 years, or let's just say you get the 20 weeks. You get the 20 weeks paid severance, right? You get the 20 weeks paid severance plus an additional taxable lump sum payment equivalent to the total premium cost for 6 months of health coverage, less all applicable taxes and withholdings, calculated based on health benefit plan type, coverage level you selected under Amazon.com services. So basically, they are giving you an additional lump sum package for 6 months for your healthcare plan so that you can continue to have healthcare coverage, which I remember when I was laid off in 2008. The company I work for, it was in real estate and it went completely under, and the COBRA payment was ridiculous, and it was just for me and I wasn't going to pay it. So it'll be interesting. I don't know how far that amount would go. Anyway, but that, if you're in the US, at least according to this Reddit post, which seems Amazon style, writing style, etc., this is going to be what your benefit package will be. Obviously, other countries will have different benefit packages depending on the applicable laws there. So that is the bottom line. These companies are going to continue to do layoffs, bottom line. So get prepared. I think my next video, what I'm going to do is a video on how to, I shouldn't say prepare, but how to stay off the layoff list. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Continue to subscribe, comment below. Let me know, have you been laid off? Do you need help? Do you have questions? I have some knowledge that I can help with. And do you like this? Go ahead, subscribe. I'll continue covering what's happening. This is Shannon with Only Shannon Knows. So thank you for tuning in and listening.